Welcome to Talking Politics with Peter Beimers. I am Peter Beimers. I am a two-time candidate for the New Blue Party, and on Monday nights I will post videos exploring the political scene here in Ontario and Canada in general. Well, there's been a new piece of legislation introduced to the House of Commons, this on the federal level. Bill C9, which is very dangerous. It's the so-called hate speech bill to protect those from online violence, which is kind of strange because the Liberal Party introduced that it was saving people from violence, and it names several groups, several Islamophobia, transphobia, Jewish hate, etc., etc. Yet it failed to mention any Christian hate, especially since well over 100 churches have been burned over the last number of years, much to the approval of the Trudeau government. You remember he said that it was understandable that churches would be burned. One of the dangers of this bill is that it is highly subjective. Nowhere in the bill is hate even defined. It just automatically assumes people know what hate is, and so anybody that's deemed hateful will be charged under this crime. Yet hate is never defined. And as we've seen over the last 9-10 years, especially in the last 5 years or less, hate has just become defined by the Liberal government as anything they disagree with. We saw this with the trucker protest in Ottawa. They didn't like what they were hearing, and so they brought out the horses and deemed everybody hateful. We've seen from the rhetoric of the left saying that because they don't like what they're hearing, automatically the other side is deemed as fascists and Nazis and hateful, yet can never point to one specific thing that is violent. They just say speech is violent, but speech is not violent. Violence is violence. Another danger that this bill opens up to is that it includes online speech. We've seen this already taking place in England, where somebody can post a meme and next thing you know, they're getting fined or jailed. Somebody was arrested just for holding up a blank sign saying that it can be interpreted. Somebody can interpret it by saying something it's not. And so he was fined and arrested. It leads to a bunch of nonsense. And again, hate is never defined. It's just something anybody disagrees with, or it becomes subjective, not objective. It's dealing with feelings. If somebody's feelings are hurt, that's deemed hateful. If I say that nobody can be a furry in the classroom and demand to piss in a litter box, I'm considered hateful because I'm not acknowledging this person's real identity as a cat. In my opinion, cats don't belong in classrooms. And in this case, this person who thinks they're a cat probably should be in a mental institution and getting some serious psychological help because they are mentally ill. But getting off topic, however, just saying that would be considered hateful rather than speaking the obvious. Somebody once said that there's going to become a time when intelligent people are going to be muzzled speaking the truth in fear of offending the ignorant. And that is what we're coming up against. We already have crimes that are appropriately in place in the books, fines, jail time for actual crimes. A generation earlier, they decided to double down on some of these crimes and put hate crimes on top of this when they feel these crimes are targeted to a specific group. And again, the one group they're not mentioning are Christians, and they have become the target of much hate in the last 5 to 10 years, coincidentally under the Trudeau government, now being continued under the Carney government. So Bill C9 needs to be stopped. Call your MP, talk to those you know in political power to dismiss this wacky piece of legislation that has no place in Canadian life. One thing it also doesn't really talk about is how far back can they go? Does this start at a specific point in time? Does it go retroactively? Can the Liberal government go to my YouTube channel, watch some of my YouTube channels and say, Peter Beimers has been hateful? Time to jail him. Will somebody get their internet privileges revoked, as this bill suggests? Can happen that they will be banned from the internet, which seems nonsensical to me. So this bill seems rather redundant, redundancy upon redundancy. We already have got the redundancy of hate crime on top of crime, and now we got C9, further redundancy on top of C9, on top of actual crimes, but expanding to what possibly could be a crime. So this is pretty dangerous in the hands of really any political power that's in place. And it doesn't have to be the Liberals. It can be the Conservatives too. Flip it around. If the Conservatives put forth a bill like this, Liberals would be all over them, saying that this is an infringement on freedom of speech, freedom of even assembly, or even freedom of thought. It reminds me a lot of the critical race nonsense that wants to be taught in school, of subjective, perceived hate. So somebody could be punished for CRT because the teacher thinks the student is hateful, even if the student's not. And this bill does the same thing, but expands it. It's more mere virtue signaling, the Liberal government saying they want to do something to combat hate on the internet and on the real world. Yet it's just more lip service, leaving it to extremely wide open-ended, without any real definition, and the possibility of enforcement is way too broad. There's no specific terms in place, but it sounds great on paper on first read. I got to admit that. It sounds like a great idea, but you dig deeper and ask a question or two, and it's terrible. But why would you expect any less? And again, if this was on the other side, conservatives could use this to muzzle the speech and jail those of the Liberal side. Liberals certainly wouldn't want them to be jailed for their thought and their beliefs. Why would we? So in my opinion, let's just scrap C9 altogether. I mean, we've already got the redundancy of hate crime on top of actual crimes. And I would think, and I would hope, that the federal government, everybody involved and every party that's sitting there in the House, we got to all agree, they've got better things to worry about in this country than redundancy. Let's take care of some jobs. Let's clean up this over-immigration system. Let's clean up the roads, make them safer. Let's lower the taxes so we have greater spending power. Our wallets go further. C9's basically a waste of time. Well, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. And if you like what you hear, share with your friends, like, and subscribe for when new videos are posted every Monday night. And if you made it this far, you made it past the outro, and I just want to say, go Jays. At the time of this recording, they're about an hour away from first pitch in Game 1, and my prediction is that they'll take the series over Seattle in 5 or 6 games. I don't see it being a sweep, but I also don't see it going 7.